Hi everyone, I'm Archil. I will be serving as your coordinator for Group 5, which is our group for today. And I would like to welcome our expert as well, Deborah Thornton. I think she lives in the Michigan area. I'll let her introduce herself, and then we can do a quick round of introductions.
Good morning, good evening. My name is Deborah Thornton Fitzpatrick. This is my second year participating in the International Youth Day, and I always find it a pleasure and an honor to be a part of it. So I'm looking forward to this. I have been at Michigan State University for 33 years. I tell you, a long time.
I just turned 32 last year, so now I'm always like, okay, these people have been working for like since before I was born. What was the world like then? That's how I process things now.
No worries. But I have worked in primarily the same capacity, different roles, helping freshmen and sophomore students, but also working a lot with international students. I have a heart for the world and for young people and for young people from all over, and you all inspire me to continue to grow and to you challenge me as well to not stop dreaming and moving forward in all sorts of areas. I've had the opportunity in my lifetime. My first overseas trip was Indonesia. I've been to the Philippines. I've been to Kenya 3 times. Actually, I got married in Kenya. I've been to Jerusalem, China, just multiple places, and it is a privilege and honor. But again, I'm glad to be here, and I look forward to continuously to partnering, working with you all during International Youth Day, because you are, as I was listening, to one of the presentation earlier. I mean, literally, you all are the future, and I think it's so important for us that are seasoned or older to partner with young people to help you reach the goals, because you have a lot to bring. We have as well, but when we work together, I just believe we can do so much more. And I probably went on to my introduction, but that's just a little bit about me. But I'm excited to hear and look forward to participating in future.
Thank you so much. Who wants to go ahead next? And either of you.
Okay, so my name is Irene David Arinze. I am from Nigeria, currently in Dallas, but heading back to my country soon. I am a journalist. I am also a development professional implementing grassroots initiatives in my local community back home, focused on energy access in unserved and underserved communities, given the lack of energy access between clean cooking and renewable energy in Nigeria. So I ensure that those that are at the last mile are able to access, these very important opportunities, and also identify opportunities that can support them economically and socially as well. Uket Friday, do you mind muting your mic? We can hear you. All right, thank you. So my team, we go into communities, identify the problems, but we don't just stop there. We don't just stop by telling stories. We also identify solutions, which I'll be sharing some of them with us during my presentation today. Well, I found out about the Global Youth Advancement Network when I was in Michigan State University for the 6 weeks Mandela Washington Fellowship, where Luna Lu and her colleague, came and talked about it and asked if we wanted to, be presenters. And so I looked it up and I thought, oh, this is a very great opportunity and a very, strong network that I would like to be a part of. And here we are today. Thank you.
That's great. You can go next. How do I pronounce your name? I don't mean to mispronounce it in the
Irene David Arinze.
Irene, I got in there. That's great. So I'll now move to the next participant, which is Mitsubishi. I'm not sure to pronounce your name. I don't want to mispronounce it. Could you please tell me the correct pronunciation for the whole group as well?
Okay, cool. So my name is Mtavisi. Yeah, but you can call me MT. So that's the first two letters of my name. So I'm originally from Zimbabwe, but I'm currently based in South Africa. So I'm passionate about building thriving communities back home. I've been a strong advocate for equal quality education opportunities. So a few years back, I launched a community learning center in my village. So I've always been passionate about education and building thriving communities. Currently, I'm studying software engineering, and I'm also like I recently started making music as well. So I'm trying to combine my passion for community building, telling stories, and technology, mixing it all into this music thing. And this is what I'll be talking about, how we can leverage the power of music to empower people and ignite positive social change.
Thank you so much, MT. I think we lost Irene. Maybe she'll join back in a bit. You kept, hi, good morning. We are just quickly going introducing ourselves in the group before we start the presentations. So it would be great if you could just tell us a bit about your work, yourself, where are you from, where are you right now, anything you want us to know.
All right. I am Phuket Friday. I like to be referred to as Phuket. Or you can call me Friday. I know that is very easy to for everyone to pronounce. So you can call me Friday. And currently I am a non-teaching staff with the University of Calabar here in Cross River State. Outside that, when I'm not working, I enjoy managing programs for non-profit organizations here in Cross River State. Yeah, so I help organizations to plan, implement, and monitor their programs, in Cross River State. And I also take some remote jobs too when the opportunity arises. I am most passionate about youth development, promoting quality education, gender equality as well. And yeah, what I'm currently doing, I am the coordinator, the state coordinator for Yale Network here in Cross River State. And I've been building a network of young persons where we are trying to create an enabling environment for young people to thrive in whatever they are doing, whatever is their career choice. So yeah, currently been appointed as strategic information officer at the University of Calabar Career Services Center. And yeah, that's my latest appointment. That's based on the work I am doing, with in the social impact sector. And it's a pleasure, of course, to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so great to have all three of you here. I think Ebra and I always for me, I'm from India, born and brought up there. My entire family's still there. I am an international student at Michigan State University. So if you all have any questions about those experiences as well as young people moving transnationally, I'm open to that. My work is in international education policy. So most of my work is still focused on South Asia, mostly India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, that region of the world. And yeah, so before we begin the presentation, it's great to welcome everyone. I'm just so excited today, but so nice to have all of you. So we're going to start now. Okay. Irene, you can go ahead and begin the presentation.
All right, thank you very much. As I earlier said, my name is Irene David and I am the founder of Leader Network. And under Leader Network, we have the Energize Project. And the Energize Project is really to support with the creation of green jobs in Africa, starting with Nigeria, where I'm from. And that was, the birth of the Energize Project. And as you can see, it's a green job creation initiative in Africa. We're currently employing 120 women in the clean cooking solutions, training, and sales projects pipeline. I would share more of that as we go on. Next slide, please. Now, what's the problem we're trying to solve? In Africa, we have over 600 million households that do not have access to electricity, and over 900 million lack access to clean cooking solutions. And with regards to the clean cooking solutions, I had a very terrible experience about 3 years ago now, where one of my relatives lost her daughter when she was cooking for the family, and then the house caught up in flames. She was using firewood which she had gotten from the bush, and she didn't realize that the fuel which she was trying to use to enhance the strength of the fire, right, was adulterated. And so what then happened was that the entire house caught up in flames, and she lost her life. Her mother and her brother narrowly escaped. And so it made me look really into what the challenges are for women in rural communities. They do not have access to reliable, efficient sources of clean cooking. What they depend on is firewood, and this takes a lot of their time. It's also very hazardous to their health, because as they cook in these very enclosed spaces, remembering how my grandmother cooked in her tiny kitchen with a very tiny window, they have to inhale CO2, which definitely isn't good for their health. We decided to take on this project. The project is really focused on, next slide, please. The focus is really, the project is really focused on identifying the communities which are, which really need the support, and I also designing solutions that are tailor-made. Now, one thing that we have found with funders that want to implement some of these projects is they do not know what the core challenges in communities are, but then they just know, oh, these are the ways, these are the things that they want to tick off their boxes for. If, for example, they are getting their monies from multilateral development financing institutions or development financial institutions on their own. And so we train and create partnerships that provide green jobs for youths with an emphasis on women. We also employ men as well. But of course, we know how marginalized women are when it comes to these kinds of solutions. Is the women, for example, that spend most of their time in the kitchen cooking for the families. And then we also create a suite of solutions in response to SDG 5. SDG 5 is the gender equality, where we're ensuring that women have equal access to these opportunities as much as men do. We also focus on SDG 7, which is affordable and clean energy. If you look at the poster which I have here, some of the projects that we implement are clean cooking solutions, both the trainings and then identifying partners that we can work with, solar technology, which includes the solar PV manufacturing and compilation, as well as deployment and installation in underserved and unserved communities. We also train on wind energy, geothermal, sales and marketing, because again, sometimes what we see is funders bring money to implement certain projects. When they are done training these women, there's no job placement for them. And so the training just goes to waste, because again, they don't have where they can deploy the trainings and the skills that they have been able to acquire during the training. So what we do is we train them on these core skills. We also ensure that we partner with organizations that are already either producing clean cook stoves, or are producing solar PVs, or are installing solar PVs. These women should also be able to go ahead. If they are producing these clean cook stoves, we train them on marketing and sales. These marketing and sales and critical business tools and learnings, so that they can set up their own businesses, go out there and make sales. Again, that also depends on the entrepreneurial skill set, but we also train them on that. So you see that the entire life cycle of such projects, we are very focused on that. We also focus on decent work and economic growth. It will interest you to know that while we are training these women, because they are rural women, some of them have never been banked. They've never owned accounts. They've never had to save money in banks. They don't know what it means to either access credits from banks. So what we also do is we partner with financial institutions in our country to ensure that these women are banked, so that we're not just paying them in cash, but we're sending money to their accounts. They now know how the financial system works. They also can interact with their bank officers to know what other kinds of financial opportunities they can leverage on for their businesses. And also finally, the SDG 17, which is Partnerships for the Goal. We are a consulting development organization. We do not own companies that produce either solar PVs or clean cook stoves, but we are leveraging on partnerships, on strong partnerships that we already have, identifying and creating tailor-made solutions that would benefit these women and benefit the organization, and also prefer solutions to the needs of the funders. Next slide, please. Right. So so far, these are some of the impacts that we have made. Now, for the clean cook stoves, which I'll be mainly focusing on for today's presentation, we take these women through the entire life cycle of the project, where they have to, and we make use of mostly, where we make use of mostly sawdust to create the inner part of the clean cook stoves. The women will ensure are trained again on safety measures, because some of the things that they have to make use of are quite hazardous. So we have to ensure that they learn the safety requirements of, the business that they're about to get involved in. As you can see, most of these women have never worked before, right? They've never had to, they are mostly housewives. Some of them are also graduates, but due to the challenges of unemployment in the country, they've not had an opportunity to work. So what we usually do is we screen these people. During our last offtake, we had over 400 women that signed up, who were interviewed, until we then scale them down to 120. Because again, we understand the prerequisites and the challenges that come with implementing these kinds of projects. It's not about just taking up women for taking up sake, but we want to see this translate into economic growth and strength for their communities, for they themselves, for their families. We've also been able to create a model where even pregnant women can come on board. You see, because sometimes these are some of the challenges for women that you find that really just makes them uninterested, or they feel like they are not competent enough. Pregnancy is not a disability. It's just a process that, you go through. And we need to also find a way to encourage these women, to take on these positions, to take on jobs, to be empowered themselves, and not just depend solely on their husbands in their households. You see, so we need to put all of these things into consideration. And I would say that that's one of the things that makes our design, our project design, very unique. We're also very conscious of ensuring that this is a very sustainable social enterprise. So while they are producing these clean cook stoves to be used by themselves and also to market to their communities, we also set up kiosks. And this is one of the partnership agreements that we had with the companies that we work with. We want a case where these women not just produce, but they can sell their products. After we have trained them, we have taken them through, say, the marketing phase, the grant writing and application and all of that, which we also support them with. You see, so at the end of the day, they are able to produce, they are able to sell. After the project cycle, they are able to stand on their own. The project doesn't just die, the skill set doesn't just die. They can either continue to work with the companies as they choose, or they can choose to work in the kiosks where they then sell. And so this then means that we're also protecting the environment, because they don't have to go into the forests and co, endangering their lives, taking up most of their time, endangering their health to go get firewood just to cook for their families. This is way faster, this is way cleaner, this is way healthier. You see, so of course, if you look at the first picture, this is where one of the women was designing. So the clean cook stoves, of course, we have to ensure that it's a beautiful package at the end of the day. So that's how encrusting some of the designs on the body of the clean cook stoves. The second image shows where they are sieving the sawdust because it's a core component of the production. The woman is boring holes into, so this is like this goes into the outside of the stoves. The woman is boring holes. That's also part of the clean cook stove. This is where the next picture is where the women are coupling everything together. And the final picture is actually where they are producing the picture image 3. Before the holes are being bored, this is the process that they go through. So we ensure that they are involved in all of the processes. And when we got to this organization, we discovered that there were more men taking on these kinds of tasks. When you see a country where, for example, they say there's unemployment, it's not because the people cannot work. Really, it's a case of where they have opportunities, and that's what will lead me to the next point. We need more opportunities like this to take on. Next slide, please. So we need more.
2.5 minutes left. Okay. Yeah.
I have how many minutes left?
2 minutes. 2.5 minutes.
2.5. Okay. Thank you. So, for example, the challenges that we have, access to funding, and we also need solutions for rural poor who may be harder to reach and may have low ability to pay. We also need safe means of transportation to work and access to patient capital. Some funders just want a case where the capital that they send to you, they need to make the money immediately. But that's not how it works for these kinds of projects. We need patient capital coming into the clean cook solutions. As you can see, that's a woman on bandage. During the course of this our program, I really can't tell you how many people have had bike accidents because they don't have safe means of transportation. Sometimes their husbands will tell them, "Oh, no more working because this is toxic." So we need to also incorporate all of these things. Then next slide. Let me rush through. I think I have 1 or 2 slides left. Recommendations. We need to provide more startup companies with climate finance to test their product market fit. I started this conversation saying that sometimes the funders have their goals which does not really align or is not even realistic with what is on ground. So funders need to also ensure that they earmark funding that will support startup companies identify their product market fits. We also need enabling policy environment. We see the government of Rwanda really doing that with organizations like Cocoa Network, which is very important. We also need strategic partnerships. I'm glad that at least for Leader Network and the Energize project, we're able to strike very solid partnerships that has proven successful. Then we need to expansion of organizations who are able to access large-scale financing, either grants financing, debt, or equity. Based on the Clean Cooking Alliance report, we see that over half of the capital that was tracked in the clean cooking industry is being invested in enterprises that serve urban customers. But we need more of this financing coming into the rural communities. And I'll end with this quote. A green jobs bill would include both job creation and job training. And I'm happy to say that that's one of the things that, Leader Network is vying for and campaigning for locally. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Irene. This was great. And we'll quickly move to the 5 minutes. And hi, Luna. We'll quickly move to the 5 minutes of discussion for Irene's presentation.
Irene, I just wanted to share, I appreciate the thoroughness, insight, and the creativity and what your heart is and passion for this area. Again, kudos. This is inspiring. It really is. So
thank you.
It really is inspiring, and the vision that you have to pour into others and to help create sustainable resources that's incredible. So thank you again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
how have women responded to this change? Like, I think a lot of work based on my experiences is basically mindset shift. It's not just providing the technology. Like, it's all of us, we are all products of habit. We are used to using that stove, which will probably be made of firewood, is not safe, but we are used to cooking like that. And we think if it's not getting cooked like that, it's not safe. Like back home in India, we see that about the microwave. Like somehow there is this whole narrative that the microwave is, not safe for example, even that's just a big narrative across the world. It's not an Indian problem. So how have women responded to this when you go to them and say that this is a clean technology and this is what we are proposing? How has that journey been? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just hope my network is stable. So can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So for me, I'd say that it's been very incredible. We ensure that we are also working with companies that are very big on technological advancements. So the company actually has about 8 different patents on clean cook stove solutions. Because again, just as the Africans would say, not all fingers are equal. Not all these women may be able to access some of these solutions. They don't use pellets, that's the clean cook stove. Some actually use solar, mini solars, right? So you discover that for these women, they've never seen this before. They didn't even realize that this works. Some, this is their first exposure to work. Some, this is their first access to owning a bank account. So it's been a whirlwind of newness for them, you see. There's also the accountability. If you don't come to work, you don't get paid. This is the time you start work. This is what happens. So there's that level of responsibility. There's also a level of ownership for women that have never earned a paycheck or that have never had to go through any rigorous training. You discover that when you meet these people are where they are and design solutions that serve them, they would embrace and embody it holistically. And that's what we've seen. We've also seen resilience. You see, one of the women who had the bike accident, she's literally calling to say, what has she missed? Oh, she can't wait to come back, but you need to heal first. You see that? So now you realize that sometimes when they don't have work to do, you start to see that their minds are going helter-skelter. And then in my country, for example, politicians start to use them for piecemeals. But if you fully engage these women with meaningful and gainful employment that they also see would have a positive impact on their health, because they're telling you about how they cough so much, how their eyes get teary, how they have some health conditions that they really can't explain how or why this is coming up. But because they now have this solution. So interesting story. One of the weekends, the women said, we need to start practicing this thing that we are making. We want to cook with it. So they made, the different batches decided to contribute money to make what we call our Nigerian jollof rice, to see how quickly it was made. Does the taste change because they are using a cleaner cooking solution? No, it doesn't. Does it emit CO2 and then making the environment not conducive? No, it doesn't. So now they are seeing the hands-on and practicality and impact of what they are doing, not just for themselves, but for their communities, because now they're also going to start selling to the communities that they live in.
That's great. Thank you so much. And this is right at the end of your 4 minutes and 59 seconds of the discussion. So great time to stop.
Thank you.
I don't want to stop you in the middle because it was just so interesting what you were saying, but as exactly on time. MT, I've been able to access your presentation. I'll just switch on the timer. Your 15 minutes starts now.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak at today's International Youth Day. Today, I'll be taking you through my music journey and how I believe music can be used to empower other people. So this is the title of my presentation, The Symphony of Sustainability. You can move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so I'll start off with a question, like, how can a person truly connect with people across the world? Like, really connect? It's just one person, but how can you connect with others? Is it even possible? Next slide. So the answer is music. Music is a very powerful force for change. Music influences how we think, our emotions, and can even inspire action. And I'm gonna take you through my own music journey so that I can unpack what I mean by this. Can you please move on to the next slide? So this is me. My name is Mtavisi Ndlovu, and I'm a software engineer studying at ALX. I write music and I also rap. And my artist name is Black Roots. So yeah. So from a very young age, I've always been passionate about telling my own story. I was a bit introverted, but I always loved writing. And with the power of sharing my story, being able to share my story with other people through writing essays, it has had a big impact on my life. I've been able to secure funding for university. I've been able to connect with people across the world by just sharing my own story, and people love my story and they want to engage with me and they want to help me in any way. And so this is how my journey to music started. It started from my passion for writing. Can you go to the next slide? So these are some of the communities that I've been engaged with through the power of just sharing my story with anyone. So what happened is about this time last year, I decided to leave my small village in Zimbabwe and go to Johannesburg, South Africa, to study software engineering. So I knew that I'll be in a foreign country for the next 12 to 18 months, and I'll be studying full time, but I'll need ways to sustain myself, to be able to pay my bills. So as I was thinking, one of the ideas that came across my head, how I could help finance my education and cover my living expenses while studying, was music. So because I already had a passion for sharing stories, a passion for writing, and South Africa is a really vibrant space for creatives, I thought, oh, I could as well write some music, hopefully change someone else's life, and maybe make a few bucks from it. So that's how I got into music. But when I started getting into music, I realized a lot of challenges that young artists face when they're trying to get into the industry. It's a really saturated market. And if you don't have the right people around you, if you don't have the right information with you, you can easily give up. You can be cheated out of your hard-earned creativity. So I started attending a number of music business workshops. You can go to the next slide. So I started attending music business workshops so that I could connect with other artists and also learn a bit more about the industry. And what I learned, and given my background coming from a really strong community, like a rural community, I decided that I could pay it forward and share some of the knowledge that I've learned. And so right now I'm going to highlight some of the initiatives that other young people are doing to inspire other upcoming artists and all to make sure that they can build sustainable careers in music. Okay, we can move on to the next slide. So let me introduce you to my personal hero, the late Ricky Rick. He's a South African musician, a rapper, but beyond music, Ricky Rick is well known for empowering young people. He founded an organization, an event called Cotton Fest. So Cotton Fest is an annual event where music lovers like me and upcoming artists like me congregate to listen to new music and also learn about how they can use music to grow and also inspire other people in their communities. So music can really inspire people. It can help people to think together, and it can also inspire action. So when you look at the life of Ricky Rick, when sadly he lost the battle to mental illness, a lot of people's souls were touched by the story, because we thought Ricky Rick, we all wanted to be Ricky Rick, but to hear that Ricky Rick took his own life, it was a really sad thing, but it also shone a big light onto how the music industry works. Can you go to the next slide? So when sadly Ricky Rick passed away, his friends and family founded the Ricky Rick Foundation to make sure that Ricky Rick's legacy doesn't die with him. It continues to empower other upcoming artists and make sure that their voices are amplified. And they even went to the further to use AI to create a song to honor Ricky Rick. They combined like his tweets, all the messages that he was sharing on social media, and they made a song out of it using AI. Can we go to this next slide? So the song is called Stronger. So this is a movement to promote activism and also shed some light on mental wellness. I think we can, in the interest of time, you can always check the music out later. So this is, I was just showing you how music can really empower people. And also what I noticed about music is that it's not just art, it's a business. A lot of, you can move on to the next slide, please. So you can create a career out of music, and not just by performing or creating music, but there are other like supporting businesses that come out from the music. So this is my friend, she's called Kwena. She's a musician, but also using her music, she started a blog to inspire other young people to share their stories and also grow. And she's also a designer, so she started like her own clothing apparel called Hula Peu, which means the seed must grow. So this is another bright example of how people are using music, not just to tell their stories, but also to make a career out of it. Yes, we can continue. So, and this is a screenshot from the Bridges Academy. You can move on. The Bridges Academy is a music production school based in Cape Town. They are located in a small township called Langa, and they train youth from underserved communities to learn music and to take up space in the music industry. Some go on to be producers, some go on to be artists, and this is a really inspiring story. Can you move on to this next slide? And what I loved about this program is like they're really intentional about solving the SDGs, and these are some of the SDGs that their project touches on. So they talk about gender equality, quality education, and also creating decent work opportunities for young people. we can move on. And this is another video if you want to learn more about the Bridges for Music Impact, which I'll skip now for the sake of time. Yes. And so music has a really great potential to help make the world a better place. So a lot of brands currently, they use music to promote their products, to drive sales. But I feel like we can use music to also bring awareness about critical issues like gender-based violence, like inequality in the quality of education. And also, is from the previous examples that I showed, it's also a pathway for young people to gain jobs, to use their own creativity to gain decent jobs and at the same time inspire people. We can move on. So this is a quote from one of the greatest artists in South Africa, Ubabu Shongwane. He says, I don't do music, but music positions me to do what I do. So this speaks to, again, the power of music to not just entertain people, but to really touch people's lives, spread information, and also drive action. You can move on. And now it comes to a point where, what do I be? That is called the Noisemakers. The Noisemakers is an
MTV
initiative.
have a minute left, so let's just move.
Okay. Yes. So the Noisemakers is an initiative that I started with my friends because based on all the learnings that I've gone through, like attending music business workshops, as I get a bit more understanding about the music industry, I wanted to share this with even more young upcoming artists. So we founded the Noisemakers to spread information about the music business, how we can use music to inspire positive social change, and as well as launch thriving careers. You can move on. So these are the core of what we do. We try to share information about the music business with upcoming artists and also help them build their own brands that they can monetize so that they can have successful careers. And the second thing that we do is using the power of music. We work with brands to help them connect with their audience and also make their campaigns have more meaning. For example, with the example that I shared previously, Kwena, she has a brand called The Seed Must Grow. So we can take such a brand and connect it with environmental awareness organizations to promote maybe planting more trees and so on. So this is what we do at the Noisemakers. Yes, we can move on to the next slides just to wrap up. So these are some of the active participants in the South African music industry that we wish to work with, but we also want to work with even more organizations. So if you have a campaign that you want to do and you need our creativity, we can work with you to build brand awareness and also really drive positive action. So this is the end of my presentation. I had a really nice song at the end, but I don't know if we still have time for it. Yeah. So
Thank you so much. I think we've
thank
got
you.
time. Maybe
Yeah.
what you MT, whenever your session is done, we could put the links in the chat, maybe to the YouTube link, so
Yeah.
that it after the session is done. Thank you so much. Any questions, any thoughts? Deborah is here, Luna is here, Irene, anyone? Yeah.
I have a question. This
Yes.
is a very inspiring presentation. I'm really interested about this topic. And I want to ask, have you encountered any challenges in using music as a tool for promoting sustainability? If so, how did you overcome it?
Okay. So with the noisemakers, it's a very brand new initiative. So we haven't really started like using music to promote sustainability, but like as I have shown, there are some examples of how others have used it. For example, with the Ricky Ricky Foundation, they really created this whole campaign to advocate for mental well-being. I guess the challenges with using music to promote sustainability sometimes is it has something to do with the music industry itself. So there's a lot of music coming out on a day-to-day basis. So to really get your music out there to reach the intended people, it could be quite of a struggle. So I think that's one challenge that I anticipate. But by working together and like informing ourselves about digital marketing, making sure that we are always a step ahead in how the music industry works. How do you promote your music? And yeah, I think you can become like really strong competitors in the music scene, at the same time driving positive social change.
That's great. I think, Deborah, can we move to UCAT and then have some 5-7 minutes at the end for a group discussion, or do you have any concerns, right?
Yes, yes.
Because we're, I think, running out of time in this presentation. You could have got your presentation. I'm going to share my screen so that it's right here, and then, okay, we can start.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. So I am so delighted to be here today, marking the International Youth Day. So briefly, I'll be making a presentation on empowering youth for collaborative sustainable development. And my sub-team is showcasing impact-driven initiatives by Yali Network Cross River. So like I mentioned earlier during my introduction, I am, next slide, please. I am the coordinator, the state coordinator for the Yali network. Can you all hear me? Yes, the state coordinator for Yali network in Cross River State. And aside that, I work as the strategic information officer in the University of Calabar Career Services Directorate, University of Calabar here in Nigeria. Next slide. So talking about what we do at the Yali Network. The Yali Network is an effort of the U.S. Department of State to groom people, young people in Africa, across Africa, you know, to become responsible and productive in whatever they are doing. And as such, we create an enabling environment. We provide capacity building trainings. We also organize workshops and seminars, and as well as connect these young people to opportunities that can better, you know, their productivity, and as well, of course, increase their effectiveness, you know, in whatever area that they are seeking. So next slide. Can we go on to the next slide? A lot of young persons within our network are doing a lot. And before Yali Network was established in Cross River State in the year 2018, you know, every young person here in Cross River State has always done their thing independently, you know. Young people have been struggling with how to collaborate with other young persons who are doing the same thing that they are doing. You know, there's been more of competition. You know, this one says, I am doing this, I'm the best in this. This one says, I'm the best in this. This one says, I'm the best in that. So there has not been so much collaboration among young people, you know, to foster growth, to also, you know, increase the level of productivity among young persons. I know this has, you know, a ripple effect on the economic system as well. So, you know, forward to 2018, when Yali Network was established here in Cross River State, you know, we were able to gradually bring young people together. Some persons who are in the development space, some persons who are in the entrepreneurship space. If you are in business, if you are in school, we bring those persons together to say, okay, this is what you can do. what training do you need to better yourself, to improve on your skill, your marketing skill, to improve on your social impact skill. So the Yali Network provides that platform for young persons to come together. And so far, we've been able to drive initiatives that are addressing one SDG or the other. So at the Yali Network, we don't just focus on a certain number of SDGs, or rather we encourage our young people to tackle whatever SDG they're able to do. We also help them to identify what SDG that their business or social impact initiative is, driving. And so far, we've been able to, address a range of UN Sustainable Development Goals, from climate action to gender equality. And also, at the heart of these initiatives, we focus on empowering these young people, whether you're in business or in the social impact area, to become agents of positive change. At some point, we even organize trainings for students in higher institutions to help them to identify, the course they are studying in school, what sustainable development goal they can actually align with, what sustainable development goal their course aligns with, and also we've been able to demonstrate, the power of youth collaboration. Next slide, please. We've been able to identify the power of collaboration. And so the first initiative is the plastic guy. So this guy collects plastic bags and waste, plastics from refuse dumps from different areas. He just goes around to collect them, and then, takes the time, to transform this plastic and rubber waste into sustainable building materials. He makes building blocks that are very strong and very reliable. Several events we've used the platform to showcase his work to even government initiatives to see how he can get support, to make them. He also repurpose ways, to reduce plastic pollution in the area and promote a circular economy. So next slide, please. Yes, so we also have the Alora reusable parts. So this young lady, who is also a Mandela Washington Fellow, the current cohort, uses, she produces reusable parts. As much as we try to, advocate for gender equality and also period poverty. I think that's a term, period poverty. So there are a lot of persons who just do this advocacy without creating a means to it to ensure that period poverty is averted, and avoided. But this young lady has gone away to, develop a way of producing reusable parts using fabrics, normal fabrics that can be washed and used over time. And what she has been able to achieve, what she has been able to achieve with this initiative is that she has promoted menstrual health. She also advocates for gender equality, which is, of course, is SDG 5. She also has created a sustainable solution, as to ending period poverty, and also aligning with SDG 12 on responsible consumption and production. Next slide. All right, so in the next slide, I had to collect a number of initiatives that focus on quality education. So one of our members, who is a medical lab scientist, but because he has had so much passion in information technology and has developed himself, as a web developer, he built a software, that provides alternative university courses for young persons, outside the regular courses that we study in the university, higher institutions. So if you visit his site, if you visit the Aura Innovations Alternative University, you can take courses on youth essential skills. You can take courses on programs management. You can take courses on communication skills. You can take courses likely on any soft skill that you like to develop yourself on, and also provide certifications. And the beauty about the site is that it creates a kind of gaming application for young persons. So you are able to earn some kind of coins while you study, and then in turn you can use those coins to pay for advanced classes or advanced learning. And then there's also the Educate Right project. So this project, which is a project that I handle personally, aims to improve digital literacy. So in most of our public schools here in Nigeria, Cross River State to be precise, there are no, we only offer, rather, the schools rather teach, practical computer studies. They teach computer studies without practicals, right? So there are no computer systems in these schools for the students to practice. So what we do with this project is to create an enabling environment. We bring a selected number of students to a center where they have computers, and we begin to teach them basic computer applications and some other courses around computer appreciation. And also, one of us invented, or rather built an app that allows young people in Nigeria, to prepare for their senior secondary school examinations, as well as the Unified Tertiary Matriculation exams. So it gives them that literature. Most of them cannot afford, preparatory exam classes. So what this platform does for them is that if they have access to a smartphone, if they have access to a system and internet, they could easily, download this app and take preparatory classes. Next slide. So, our Voice Foundation, this young lady who is also a member of the network, what she does is in empowering teenage mothers in a very rural area here in Cross River State. I think that's Bekwara local government here in Cross River State. She has developed a program that gives teenage mothers a second chance at education. So we noticed that in our locality, once a young lady gets pregnant, then the whole family turns their back on you. And most of these young persons do not have access to education. They feel that their life has ended in that area. So all they have to do is to just, remain mothers and think of how to raise their children and all. So her initiative has, given teenage mothers a second chance at education. She also trains them, in certain technical skills, vocational skills. She trains some of them, to become fashion designers, train them different skills so that they know that they still have a meaning, to their life, and there's something they can actually do aside just being teenage mothers. That's not the end of, the road for them. So next slide. So most of the initiatives that we carry out at the Yali Network Cross River, has demonstrated the transformative power of youth-driven and collaborative efforts to address the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And you will be surprised to know that most of these projects are self-funded. Most of these projects and initiatives, are either funded by, whoever initiated this project, or a collaborative effort of network members. We say, okay, this person has this initiative. Would you like to support her? And then we call for support for, that person. And that way we're able to raise some funds to implement this project. And, that will tell you how much, young persons can do, with the power of collaboration. And we believe that through collaboration, we can empower the next generation of sustainable development champions. So that's why we, ask for people who are, interested in supporting young persons. We encourage most young persons, to collaborate with others, and as well as drive more initiatives, because we believe that, of course, we are not just, as youth, we are not just, we're not leaders of tomorrow, but rather we are the leaders of today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yuka. This was great. I think, Deborah, if that's okay with you, we could quickly discuss if you have any questions from Yuket, and then we have almost 10 more minutes left, 10 to 11 minutes. Then I can open the floor for our three youth to ask any questions to Deborah, Luna, or just keep it open so that they can also get some suggestions and, export tips from her. She's been in this field for so many years now. So, yeah.
I just want to applaud both of you. Incredible, incredible vision, and so incredible. So I'm gonna clap first. Yay! This is, yes, woo! All three of you have done a fantastic job in presenting in your heart and sharing your vision for us to take part in and provide feedback and so forth. One of the things I wanted to ask with the last presentation, with all your efforts, have you found it, what are some of the challenges or reluctancies? Have you had everyone embrace your ideas? And how do you work around those people? Because again, with any project, you have the people that are gonna be very supportive, but then you're gonna have people that are not as supportive, because change can be hard. So can you talk a little bit about those encounterments, or maybe you haven't had any, and if not, that's great.
Of course, we've had some challenges and some setbacks, and as a network, that brings people together to say, oh, you can actually achieve this. There are still young persons who feel like they are not enough. So we have that feeling of some persons, they are limited by their beliefs, by their thoughts, that they are not enough. They don't have enough capacity and skill. So to address that, we just keep encouraging them. We just keep, challenging them to do more, right? We just keep providing programs and opportunities that can, expand their mindset, with knowledge and, their abilities. And then the other challenge would be funding. Of course, for us, so far, like I said, since 2018, we have been in Cross River State Yearly Network. And I would be frank to say that we've only focused our impact in one location, which is Calabar, the capital city of Cross River State. Why? Because we do not have enough funds, enough, the resources to extend our impact to local communities, and it is already seeming like everybody in the town is benefiting from so much, while the people who really need this impact, the knowledge, the programs we are organizing are in the local area. So we are limited by, of course, funding and available resources. So that's two major challenges that we've faced so far.
Okay. When you did share in your presentation about most of it is self-funding, I thought, wow, even for what you all have accomplished thus far, and just thinking of other ways to tap into that, because I do believe is oftentimes is connecting with people that can actually provide the resources. So that's a great idea. And as you were talking, I'm thinking, how can we get more people to fund to the resources? In which I also, going back to the music inspiration, I know you talked about, so this is, I say with all of them, just ways that I want to encourage you, which I know you're not, don't ever give up. And it's the timing and resources and connection with individuals that will hear, and not only hear, but see your, what you've been doing, what each of you have been doing. And I really believe that it's a timing and resources, more resources will be provided for you all to continue to do great things. I was going to ask about the music. I know you mentioned having the sponsor different, and I'm using word sponsorship, but that's not what you said, but the resources within South Africa. What are some of the ways are you looking at capitalizing in other areas and expanding it, not just for that region, but how can, I was going to say, how can we, or, how can we be an extension of helping you get connected to other resources in the music industry for your area? Or maybe what area, and I hope that was, I articulated that correct. Or what are some ways that you are gonna expand, looking to expand to other areas globally?
Great. Thank you very much for asking that question. Our vision is to really make this have a global impact, even though we're starting in Johannesburg. So because we plan to host our own like music business workshops, but instead of just having them physically, we want to like capture them, like make videos that we can publish on YouTube so that we can reach a wider audience. And another upcoming project that we're working on, because I'm a software engineer, we want to build a network of artists to support each other, so we can become more creative about that, maybe even gamify it such that because a lot of artists struggle, like money is a big issue, funding, when you're trying to shoot like a video, you're trying to record the song. But if we can use the power of community and collaboration, so if I'm a songwriter, maybe I can find other people who are looking for songwriters. If I'm a videographer, maybe you get maybe points or tokens for helping other upcoming artists. So I think that's how we're planning to expand this, so that we can even reach more people outside South Africa, outside Africa, and just share our culture and the whole experience. Yeah.
And that, I know I saw the YouTube, but you're also looking at, I'm thinking Instagram, and
Yeah.
I'll say this, when I say these things, it may be dating my age, but anyway, you know, other social media such as Instagram, the Reel, I mean, there's ways, right? Okay, I just want, if I was saying something, again, I'm dating myself. I'm still learning. I feel like I'm still a novice with this social media, but just to ways to capitalize on that as well.
Awesome. I think that's great. We have 5 minutes left. If we have any questions from the youth for Deborah, you know, she's been an expert working with youth for the past 33, 34 years. I'm forgetting that number. I just remember it's older than me. So anyway, and yeah, I think MT, you get Irene, if you have any questions for Deborah, and also for Luna, she's also here, but any questions, we can wrap that up. We can do that in the next 5 minutes. I think we'll then go to the bigger group.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So for me, so a big question that I have is, as the youth, when we're coming up with the initiative, studying is always like a big issue, because like we're small, you don't have funds, you don't even have the metrics. So trying to comment on Deborah's question. So from the Global Youth Advancement Network or Michigan State Universities, like what opportunities are available for youth to access like the networks? It could be investment, it could be sponsorship, but what are some of the programs that we as the youth can try and reach out to, so that we can help expand and scale our initiative? Yeah.
I'll say something, Luna, if you want to chime in. But actually, when you the particular area that you're in, I was thinking of connecting with different college, you know, specifically colleges, in particular, more specifically, with where you're at. I believe that would be in our communication arts and sciences. That would be a good connection, because I know individuals in that area have done different things with the media, filming and all. And a side note, I don't know, well, anyway, I won't go down too long of a side note, but I do know that one of the professors who wrote a movie that was popular back in the day, Top Gun, okay, but it's popular now again, he is from that particular college. So there are people who are connected to these colleges that have that could potentially help in the exposure and getting connected globally. So that would be one of my recommendations. And I didn't realize we were going back to the main group.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.